Hey everyone! So today I want to talk about exercise. Exercise is awesome. It makes us feel good, decreases our risk of developing other chronic illnesses, and it decreases our risk of developing complications from our diabetes. Overall, it lengthens our lifespan and it should be fun. I'll be the first to admit that exercise with diabetes is hard. Blood sugars go up and down and all around, and sometimes it can take the whole day to regain control. So how do we make exercise worth it? John Walsh came up with this idea of Ex Carbs. Basically, it's a formula that provides a carb to exercise ratio that's dependent on weight and exercise intensity level. He goes into a lot of detail on this in his book, Using Insulin. This info allows us to know how many carbs we're burning with exercise so that we can eat replacement carbs or Ex Carbs or decrease our insulin or both. It's brilliant! A man named David Kerr developed an easy access website where you can input your weight, exercise intensity level, and length of exercise, and voila! Ex Carbs! So what's the easiest way to maintain control of blood sugars while exercise? Ex Carbs. No! Don't eat that. To do this, simply enter your data into the Ex Carb website. Activity that requires 15 grams of Ex Carbs or less can typically be consumed during or up to 2 hours after the activity. Most glucose consumed within the first 30 minutes of exercise come from glycogen stores, and therefore it doesn't need to be replaced right away, unless insulin levels are abnormally high in the blood. After 30 minutes, levels of glucose drawn from the blood begin to increase, and that's when more immediate carbs are needed. Carb replacement is pretty simple, but the longer the exercise, the more important it becomes to decrease your insulin. Let's first talk about basal reduction. This is best used for moderate to strenuous exercise at least 60 to 90 minutes long. Remember, a basal reduction will take 2 to 4 hours to have effect on blood insulin levels. For a bolus reduction, you can use your carb factor by dividing your Ex Carbs by your carb factor. For instance, if you need 30 Ex Carbs to cover an activity and your carb factor is 10, then you know that you need about a 3-unit reduction in your insulin. And this is best spread between the 2 meals closest to your activity. Keep in mind, a bolus reduction will take about 30 minutes to have an effect on your blood insulin levels. A combination approach can also be used. For instance, the same person running for 30 minutes may require 50 Ex Carbs, which is about a 5-unit reduction of insulin. They may choose to reduce their insulin by 3 units and intake 20 grams of carbs as Ex Carbs. So when won't Ex Carbs work? 1. If you're beginning with improper insulin doses. 2, your stress hormones are elevated. So let's do a real-life example. For my Ex Carb experiment, I'm going to be taking this little munchkin on a walk. So I went to the Ex Carb website and clicked on the Ex Carb and insulin calculator. I input my weight, how long I'll be exercising, and I chose mild intensity exercise for my walk. The last question is, how much rapid insulin do you usually take for the meal before exercise? And I put 0 because I haven't eaten in a while. Then you click Help Me Exercise Safely. The Ex Carb website wants me to take 9 additional grams of carbohydrates, and if exercising more than 2 hours after my last meal, 5 extra carbs after that. So that's a total of 14 grams of carbs. Keep in mind, this is for aerobic exercise only. As many of you know, with anaerobic exercise, your blood sugars may in fact go up. For my Ex Carbs, I'm going to be using glucose tabs because they work fast, they're pre-measured, and for those of us trying to lose weight, they're the lowest in calories. This is my starting blood sugar, and for the sake of this exercise, I took myself out of auto mode. If I was still in auto mode, then I would probably need less Ex Carbs to correct any lows. Come on! mentioned earlier, with exercise requiring a small amount of X carbs or lasting 30 minutes or less, you may not need to actually eat the carbs until after the workout. So I'll keep you posted.